What's up, Tailgaters? My name is Tailgate Nate. Welcome to my channel. Haven't posted here in a couple weeks, but I am back with my non-college football playoff. That's going to come in a video either later on tonight or tomorrow. Probably going to end up being tomorrow, but hey, we'll see what happens, right? Non-college football playoff, New Year's 6 bowl game predictions. Guys, we are so close to closing out this college football bowl season. I hope everyone had a great holiday season, and I hope everyone is doing well out there. I know I haven't been live updating as much, but I've been spending time with family. I've been pretty busy here in my hometown. So, with all that being said, we're going to dive into New Year's 6 bowl game predictions. But if you want to hear my thoughts on what happens after the college football national championship game, or you want to hear my thoughts on what's happening during the playoff national championship game, I highly suggest you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Leave a like, comment, do anything you can to help support the channel. It does mean a lot to me. And I apologize for whatever my green screen is doing. I've tried to fix it, but it just hasn't happened. So we're going to go ahead and go through these New Year's 6 bowl games as they are slated on the schedule, starting off with the game tomorrow. And this possibly might be the orangiest Orange Bowl of all time. It's the number 6 Tennessee Volunteers and the number 7 Clemson Tigers, the champions of the ACC. You see down there, Clemson is the 6-point favorite with that over-under being 63.5. Again, all lines and odds are, as of recording this video, they are always, as usual, subject to change. Let's talk about the quarterback battle in this one for a little bit. Joe Milton versus Cade Klubnik. Not either team starter. Again, Hendon Hooker tore his ACL, out for the rest of the season. Probably would have ended up opting out of this game anyway to prepare for the NFL draft, but who knows, right? Anyway, you're going to have Joe Milton in there starting at quarterback, and he's not going to have his two top weapons to throw to. He's not going to have Cedric Tillman. He's not going to have Jalen Hyatt. Both those guys have opted out of the bowl game, so it's going to be really interesting to see how what Joe Milton is able to get going here with some of the younger, or I guess some of the less explosive wide receivers on this team, as you would argue, Hyatt and Tillman, the two most explosive weapons on the Tennessee offense, if not two of the most in college football. And then Cade Klubnik, the young gun, was fantastic in the ACC championship game. 20 of 24, I believe, around 250 yards. Had a couple touchdowns there as well. So Cade Klubnik played super well in the ACC championship game. And DJ Uiagalelei has decided to enter the transfer portal. So we'll see. And DJ, of course, going to land at Oregon State. We'll see what Cade Klubnik is able to cook up here. And that's my bottom bullet point, right? What are the Tigers able to cook up for Cade Klubnik, right? It's a guy that, well, you expected him to play at some point this season for the Clemson Tigers. Now that he is, for sure, your full-time starter, what are we going to see out of Cade Klubnik? I'm going to be very interested to see how Klubnik plays as the starting quarterback for a full 60 minutes. And for Tennessee on this end, look, Tennessee cannot rely on the run. Words are hard, guys. I'm sorry. Tennessee cannot rely on the run in this game. Vanderbilt, they rushed for, I believe, over 300 yards, which is just crazy. You're not going to be able to do that against this Clemson Tiger defense. They are too good at they are too good of a run defensive team. Are the Clemson Tigers? Tennessee's not going to be able to run it for forever in this game. But they are going to have to use the run game here, and it's got to get going early, and it's probably got to get going often here as well, because Joe Milton does not quite have the arm that Hendon Hooker does, especially without those top two weapons. You got to have some backing on the run game, but Tennessee's going to have to hit some shots. And speaking of hitting shots, again, that bottom bullet point, what are the Tigers going to cook up for Cade Klubnik, and how are we going to see the young quarterback grow in this game, as he's probably going to end up being that starter in the 2023-2024 college football season? I think this is going to be a very interesting game, but I do believe that with all the opt-outs and injuries that Tennessee has right now, I think that Clemson defense is going to take over at key moments in this game, and I think Cade Klubnik's going to have himself a game there as well. Along with this Clemson rushing attack that has been really good all season long, I got the Clemson Tigers coming out of the Capital One Orange Bowl with a win here. Again, this one is on tomorrow, the 30th of December, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on ESPN. I have the Clemson Tigers winning this one by 8. I think the Clemson defense is going to prove to be a little bit too much for this Tennessee team. Moving on now to the Alabama Crimson Tide and Kansas State Wildcats facing off in the All-State Sugar Bowl. Now, the line is only 6.5 in favor of Alabama, and I feel like a lot of people are looking at that and saying Alabama's going to easily beat that. Look, this is going to be a way more competitive game than a lot of people may think. At least that is what I tend to believe about this game. But I do have some questions for both teams going into this game. First off, who's going to step up at the wide receiver position for Alabama? They've had a couple wide receivers enter the transfer portal. Some of them, the top 10 wide receivers on this team this year. But you still got guys like Ja'Cory Brooks, and you still got guys like Jermaine Burton there as well. And of course, Jahmyr Gibbs, the lifeblood of that offense for anyone not named Bryce Young. And speaking of Bryce Young, he is playing in this game, as is Will Anderson, Mel Kiper's #1 player on his big board. And going to be a top 5, if not top 3 pick in the NFL draft. So you have Young and Anderson both playing in this game, which are a huge boost for the Alabama Crimson Tide. But the Wildcats are going to need to be able to create pressure on Bryce Young in order to win this game. Creating pressure on Bryce Young has helped teams that have beaten Alabama this year. Look at what LSU was able to do. Look at Tennessee. Tennessee really kind of a shootout game, just outmatched Bama offensively. But when you go ahead and look, Alabama's offensive line has had trouble this year. And if Kansas State's defense is able to create some pressure, especially mixing up some blitz packages, they're going to have some success here in this game. And there's a potential 2-quarterback system here for Kansas State. Will Howard has gotten the starting nod for the Big 12 champs, as he has since Adrian Martinez has been hurt. But Adrian Martinez is suspected to be making a return here in this game, right? Adrian Martinez is supposed to be a guy that maybe gets some playing time in this game and maybe sneaks himself in to a couple of plays here, which I think is going to be a really interesting development to watch. See how the Wildcats use Adrian Martinez. You got Deuce Vaughn back there as well. Will Howard going to be slinging the rock for the majority of the game, you would think. This is definitely going to be a very, very interesting game. And yes, Bryce Young is playing. Will Anderson is playing. I am leaning towards Bama in this game. I will tell you that right now. I am not going to go against Nick Saban and Alabama. But I do think Kansas State is going to put up a fight, and they may even grab the lead at a couple points here throughout this game. But late, what's going to happen is the two playmakers, possibly you could make the case for them being the two best players in all of college football, but Will Anderson is going to have some key moments on the defensive end, and you're going to have Bryce Young making some huge plays along with Jahmyr Gibbs and others for this Crimson Tide offense. And that is why I have the Alabama Crimson Tide pulling away from this one probably late in the game if I had to pick anything. This one, of course, is on New Year's Eve, same day as the college football playoff. No, I'm not previewing the playoff games in this video. That'll be in another video that comes out at a later date. But the Alabama Crimson Tide, I have winning the All-State Sugar Bowl. How about this one, huh? The Cotton Bowl. The Tulane Green Wave going to be taking on the USC Trojans. USC college football playoff hopefuls just missed out, but it's okay because they still went home with some hardware. And, well, more specifically, one player went home with some hardware. Caleb Williams is going to be playing in this game. But around him, he's going to have a lot of guys missing, including Jordan Addison, the star wide receiver, among some other weapons for Caleb Williams, as Tulane has very little opt-outs or injuries, and that is not so much the case for USC. Again, as I just said, Jordan Addison, along with multiple other NFL caliber players, have opted out of this game. And on the injury side of things, there are a couple injuries that they've been dealing with all season long. But Caleb Williams, remember how he got hurt in the Pac-12 championship game? Yeah, he's had about a month to recover from that. But still, how healthy is Williams? Is probably going to end up starting it in this game, and he's going to muscle through and toughen things out. But how healthy is Caleb Williams really going to be? And how does he gel with maybe some of the newer guys that are being thrown in, or that maybe haven't played as much this season for USC? I think that's going to be something very, very interesting to watch. Now, not a bullet point here, but I do want to talk about it. Tulane and Michael Pratt have been a very balanced team all season long. The offense, of course, has been run by, I just said his name, quarterback Michael Pratt, and a really good running back in Tajee Spears as well. He has had a breakout season, and he has been a lot of fun to watch. Now, also for Tulane, this has been a really good defense this year as well for most of the season. Tulane's defense has come up large in many, many, many occasions, and those are all the reasons why Tulane is sitting here in their first ever New Year's Six bowl game appearance in the modern college football era. USC is that 2-point favorite. I don't blame the odds makers for doing that. But one thing is having me very skeptical about this Trojan team, and it's been like this all season long. Yes, USC is an 11-win team who, if they just could have gotten by Utah and avenged their only regular season loss, they would be in the college football playoff. But the Trojan defense, can it step up? How does it step up? What does it change in this game in order to make adjustments to prepare for a pretty solid Tulane offense that can beat you in multiple different ways? I have not seen a lot from USC's defense, and with all the opt-outs that they're having on both sides of the ball, USC's offense is going to be there. That is no question. But I think Tulane's defense is going to come up with more stops than the Trojan defense. And that's why I think Tulane's going to end up pulling the upset here against USC. Now, Caleb Williams can have an after Heisman Trophy ceremony Heisman moment. Yes, that is absolutely possible. But there is just something in my gut, something burning deep down inside my being that's telling me Tulane is going to walk away Cotton Bowl champions. So that's what I am predicting here. 35-33 is my final score prediction. I think Tulane is going to come out, play a really, really good game, and I think they're going to get the better of the USC Trojans. And moving forward into next season, defense is definitely going to be a key thing, as you will have Caleb Williams coming back next year, but defense going to be a key place to improve for USC next year. So, Tulane, I have pulling off the upset in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. And then the final non-college football playoff New Year's Six game sees the 8th-ranked Utah Utes and the 11th-ranked Penn State Nittany Lions. Utah is back. It's their second ever Rose Bowl. They lost an absolute classic last year to the Ohio State University, and they are now the 2-point favorites against another Big Ten team out of the East. This time, the Penn State Nittany Lions. Sean Clifford versus Cam Rising. Which quarterback is going to be more effective in this game? Both quarterbacks have been very effective for their respective sides all season long, and that should easily continue here into this game. There's no reason to think that Sean Clifford or Cam Rising are going to see any semblance of a decline in this game. So that's going to be a very interesting quarterback battle to watch. I can't wait to see what unfolds there, especially with the amount of talent that both teams have on the offensive side of the ball. The battle at the line of scrimmage is going to be crucial on both sides of the field for both teams. Offensively, defensively, it's going to be huge. Whichever team is able to win the line of scrimmage is going to have a huge, huge advantage in winning this game. Penn State is a very, very physical team. They like to run the football and do all of that, right? Penn State's a very physical team. They have a very good offensive line. Yeah, it's been bullied at times this year, but I mean, just look at some of the guys they have in their backfield. Nick Singleton, Katron Allen. They have a lot of guys capable of doing some really, really nice things. So, Sean Clifford can't, or excuse me, sorry, I already looked at that. I had to take care of a thing really quick. My apologies. The battle at the line of scrimmage. There you go. That's where I was. That's going to be crucial. Whichever team can run for more yards, whichever team can win the line of scrimmage, whichever team can get pressure on the other quarterback more successfully is going to have a lot easier of a time, or not necessarily easier of a time, but a lot more of an advantage for themselves to win this game. Both teams have been on this stage before. Cam Rising and Utah were just here last year. Penn State has been here before. Remember when they played USC in 2016. Who comes out on top of this one? I think this is going to be a very, very physical game. And I think, much like we've seen Rose Bowls happen in the past, I think it's going to be a fairly high-scoring game as well. And I think Utah is not going to let this one slip away. I think they're going to look at what happened last year, how they got off to that quick, fast start, and then Ohio State was able to use that second half to go win the game. I think Utah's going to look at that and say, "Oh no, we're not going to let that happen again." And I think Utah's going to come out on top of this Rose Bowl. This one is also on January 2nd, as is the last one. First game starts at 1, the Cotton Bowl. This game going to be starting at 5 Eastern time on ESPN, and I believe is the last bowl game to kick off before the national championship game. So should be a really, really exciting game to watch here. And Utah back in the Rose Bowl after last year. I got the Utes taking home the Roses this year. And with that, that's going to bring it close to my non-college football playoff New Year's 6 predictions. My college football playoff predictions will be out in a video either later tonight, but more than likely tomorrow morning, early afternoon. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Again, if you want to hear my thoughts on everything college football, please like, comment, subscribe, do anything you can to help support the channel. And remember to play hard, but tailgate harder. I'll see all you guys later on tonight or tomorrow with my college football playoff mega preview and predictions. Goodbye.